Hi fellow traders. In this video, I'm going to share with you my nightly scan. Had a couple of questions about it, how I do my scan at night, and then how I vet the tickers to actually make the watch list for the next day. And also, it'll just kind of lead into the trade that I took today. So I'll go ahead and start with my scanner. Right now, I use FinViz. I just purchased trade ideas and I'm working through it. So I'm going to see if I could get trade ideas to give me the same stock, but do all of the vetting before it hits my scan. So if nothing passes, nothing will show up. Um, but I start here on FinViz. This is the free application. They do have a paid application, but this is a free one. And I click on Screener, and I have a nightly scan that I use. And these are all of the elements to it. I look for price over $3. Really, I never get a stock under $10 on this scan. So I really could put over $10, but I just have over 3 on it. The float short is going to be over 10%. The ATRs needs to be over $2. And 52 week, it's just on new low now, but you'll see, I'll switch it to new high as well. And then I'm looking for volume over 1 million shares. Anything under 1 million doesn't really interest me. Really, it needs to be well over 1 million. But I have a million in because sometimes I do get a nice trade off of a ticker that's just a little over 1 million shares. So it's real simple, real basic. And when I run the screen, it gives me these tickers. And all I do is click on each one, as I get to them. And what I'm looking for, I'm looking at the float. I like it already because it's a low float. The ATR is, 370. Okay, then I look down here at the average volume. And what I want to see is at least 3 times, well, at least 2 times the volume, average daily volume, but I really like 3. And if you can see, this traded almost 5 million shares today versus, the average daily volume is 300,000 shares. So this one is real interesting to me. It's probably going to make my watch. But then I look at the news. I want to see, what the news is. So I'll read it. And FinViz is real good. It has several news sources. So you can click on them, go through and read the different news articles on it. You got Reuters, The Street, and Barron's.com had 2 articles on it. But it has Business Wire, BizJournals.com, Market Watch, The Motley Fool. It has a lot of different places that it pulls the news from. So I look at this. I mean, this is a $16 move today. It lost over 40% of its value today. And it traded on that high volume. So I'm going to be looking for another move tomorrow. This made a 52-week high. I mean a 52-week low. So I'm going to be looking for it tomorrow. So now what I'm going to do is bring it up on my daily chart. Let's see, ENTA. So I'm going to bring it up on my daily chart. And this is a 52-week. No, this one is, I think this one. I've got a 5-year and then I've got a 52-week chart. So I look at the 52-week chart first. And what I do is I mark the level or mark the low of this day. And then I'll go back and look 5 years. And so I look to see if there's any support, which there is right here. There's support right here, right here, right here. You know, this one dipped down a little bit. And then here's the low of the last 5 years. So that's 1431. So I'll mark that level out too. So that's going to be of interest to me. So then I'll go back and look at the 5-minute chart just to see, you know, where it lined up today. And you can see it fell off a cliff, bounced off this support right here, and then it bounced back up. And it kind of held, you know, its bounce. So tomorrow, you know, I'm going to be looking for it to, you know, do one or two things. I'm going to look for it to come back and retest this and possibly take it for a long, or it tests this and fail this level, then I can possibly take it for a short. So I'm going to have two plans for this ticker based on how it opens. So I'm going to go back, I'm going to do one more. We go back to FinViz. Then I'm going to look at the next ticker. LNG, energy stocks I don't really care much for. This one didn't do much. It only moved 37 cents today. I'm not interested. It traded less than its average volume. So it's got too many strikes. There's 3 strikes already. Didn't move that much. It's an energy stock. Average the volume it traded today is less than its average daily volume. And it really 4 strikes because the float's higher than what I like to see. I like to see floats with 100 million shares or less. So this one's not going to make my watch. RLYP. See, this one had a nice move today. 439. It gapped down. The float's where I want it. Traded 16 million shares today. And the average volume is 774,000. So this will be a good candidate for me, you know, for another move tomorrow. So I'm going to go to my daily chart. RYLP. I think that's what it is. Let me go back. No, I have dyslexia, so RLYP. So I get these mixed up a lot. Alright, so now let me go to the daily chart first. This is where I start. Here we go. 1026 is the low it made today. I'm going to draw that level. So I'm going to go back and see. This is the lowest it's been since it has any data on this stock. It goes back to 2013. 1026 is the lowest this stock has ever been. So what am I going to look for it to do tomorrow? I'm going to look for it to possibly come back and test this and lose it, you know, for me to take it short, you know, using this as this level as a guide. But if it comes down and it bounces, then maybe I can get a you know, move back up here. The only thing that bothers me is that when a lot of stocks were picking up volume toward the end of the day, this one was losing volume. You know, it had a lot of volume at the open, and it really didn't, you know, move that much. So it moved from, say, 10 up to $13. So this one, and it's a low dollar ticker, so you're not going to get the big moves, but you'd have to size up on it. And it, you know, it did pretty good. It came down There's no way to know that this was a support level at the time because this is actually the 52-week low. So you didn't know where it was going to go. You didn't know it could have kept falling. It could have kept running. But I'm going to put this on watch. It had a lot of volume. I'm surprised it didn't move any more than it did with the volume spike that it had. But it's going to be enough for me to put it on watch. So let's go back. Let's look at, I think I have one more on here. UTHR. This is another high dollar ticker. Has almost a $6 average true range. On the floats where I want it. Don't really like the volume, so I probably won't put it on. It didn't even trade twice its average daily volume, so this isn't going to make the cut. So far, for tomorrow, I've got ENTA and RLYP. Those are the two tickers that I'm going to watch. Now, the other thing I do is I look to see if there are any that made a new high. There are none that made a new high, so I'm only going to have two tickers on my watch going into the morning. Unless something pops up tonight that, may interest me, this is all I'm going to have on my watch. Now let's go back to my trade today on PII. Now this one popped a lot faster than I anticipated. This was on my watch, my nightly high-low watch that I posted in chat, and really didn't anticipate this to set up till a little bit later. But it opened, got the nice strong move out of the open, and this ticker kind of gave me some pause, but I was surprised that it moved as much as it did on low volume. But this ticker printed confirmed over the VWAP, so I went ahead and took it long. But as soon as I got in, the thing jumped 75 cents or so. So it gave me a pause. I sat there and watched it for a second, and then I alerted that I entered it in chat. The thing is, I didn't even have time to even alert what I was looking for out of this ticker. I had it on watch, and it ended up giving me a nice opening range breakout, and that's what it set up for. So I took it and got a nice strong move up. I was able to get a couple points out of it, within 10 minutes. And I mean, that's what you look for in the morning when you're trading momentum. Within the first 30 minutes, you're going to get these moves. So I got out and I said I'm going to look for it to bounce off the VWAP and probably make a strong move back up. I did. It bounced off the VWAP. I got in and it pretty much did nothing. Probably could have taken it on some of these pops, but I didn't. Only in 250 shares, I think. It's either 200 or 250 is what I went in. But not really having what I would have wanted to scale out. I didn't. Probably could have. That was just a choice I made at the time. Not to take profit for a little bit up here. But in hindsight, that was the wrong thing to do. Ended up getting stopped out when it closed below the VWAP. And that was the end of that second trade. But the first trade was pretty strong. I was pretty happy with it. And that's kind of the first thing I look at on these watches. I have a chart. I have like 6 charts. That's the most stocks I will look at one time. And a lot of times I'll have a couple from my night, and there's a couple from the scan. I use the same scans that Ross and Mike and Jeff, we all use in chat. So we're going to have the same tickers on those scans. So it doesn't make sense for me to repost, watching those when, I'm watching everything in the room in addition to mine. Now, obviously, if I add mine to Ross's, to Mike's, and they're more than 6, then yeah, I'll have to break it down, and some I'll have to cut off. But for the most part, I'm watching all of their stocks. I'm watching a couple of mine. And the very first thing I look for is opening range breakouts. So whether it's my tickers or Ross's tickers or Mike's tickers, I'm looking for opening range breakout or opening range breakdown to short. One of those I'm looking for. If it sets up good like this one, I'm going to take it long. You can bet I'm going to do it. Now, will I miss it? Sometimes, yeah, I'll miss it. But because of the delay for me getting in and these tickers being so volatile, when I post it, sometimes it's going to appear to be late. But really, only maybe 30, 45 seconds to a minute goes. And you can see, let me see if I can go to a minute chart. Let's see how fast this thing popped up. But you can get an idea of how fast these can go, or they can grow in a minute or two. You see this one? This one had a range of $1.25 in 1 minute. And this is what I'm talking about. If I get in a stock, by the time I post it, it can be up $1. So, I'm going to try to make sure that I tell you, what I'm looking for. But just know right off the bat, in the morning, out of all the stocks I'm watching, I'm looking for opening range breakout or opening range breakdown. In this one, but I'm watching the 5-minute chart, for the setup. In this one, gave me a good opening range breakout. I could have even held it for the 15-minute opening range breakout, and it would have given me a point and a half. This is a great way to start your day. Unfortunately, the rest of my day kind of went into oblivion. For the second day in a row, I'm looking for a late day bounce or reversal, and it waits until I have to leave at 3:15, 3:30. As soon as I leave, it takes off. It makes the move that I've been looking for. Don't know why they're waiting till late to do it. Normally they make it between 1:30 and 2:30, but for some reason this week, these reversals have been waiting until after 3:30 to take off. Now, if you have a small account and you want to take size, after 3:30, if you're at SureTrader, you have to be, at 2-to-1. So a lot of times, if you only have $1,000 or 1,500, trading these probably wouldn't make. You couldn't get a trade because they pop after and they make the move after 3:30, where you can't really, trade with any size. But just wanted to kind of demonstrate some of the frustrations that I have as well. You watch a ticker for a couple of hours and it just sets up, and just won't make the move, and then finally it makes the move when you have to go, or you take your mind off of it. But that's where the psychology comes in. I've been through this enough where, yeah, I'll get upset. I may cry about it, but I wipe the slate clean when I sit down to do my scans, and I start preparing and planning for the next day. But that's all I have for you today. Again, if you have any questions about my scans, what I look for, very simple. I look at the float. Then I look at the volume. I need to have a good volume spike. Without that volume spike, the gap up doesn't mean, or gap down doesn't mean anything. Even if it's a 52-week high or low, it doesn't mean anything without the volume. Because as far as I'm concerned, volume is what drives these tickers. And if there's no volume, that means nobody's buying or selling, which means the stock's probably not going anywhere. unless it's manipulated. So that's just my take on it. But if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me. And I showed my all of the parameters for the scan. I put up, so you can go back and check those out. But that's all I use. All right. Until tomorrow, I'll see you everybody in chat. Everybody have a great afternoon, a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow.